Good morning, it's Bob from Trade Genius. It's the 7th of January, and I'm just going to go through a couple charts 'cause I think we hit a very, very important milestone on Friday. And, we got to within Dow 20,000, almost penny short, and then the market fell away, and then after hours it fell down even more. And my view is maybe the Sunday night they try to ramp it over 20,000 so they could ring the bell, but uh, I'm convinced this moves over, and I'll tell you why. Is if you look here, this is the low of in August, hit 1102 on the VIX, and this was the support one pivot for the year. And when you look at pivot trading, is that's a pretty important milestone. And then the market went up, not the market, but the VIX went up 100% from this move here. Like 90%. Give me a second here. Let me just show you. If you look here, it's 86, 90%. I'm right in that area. And then in totality, the VIX shot up over 100% from that low in the year. So, 107% from that low. And so, this is how they fund the market, by selling volatility. But it's at a point now where it's really dangerous for them to take it even lower. It's gone lower in 2007, but I don't think we have the same enthusiasm as we did in 2007. It was Brave New World. Things were happening. We've been climbing walls of worry here now for 9 years, and I think people are just simply exhausted. And now Trump's coming in, election's official, it's certified, he's coming in, and I just don't think any way the globalists are going to want to support him in any way, shape, or form. So the Obama mirage of the last 8 years is gonna go from virtuous to violent. And if we go to here, and the reason why I talk about today is that we had a low here, okay, and then we had a low here. It double tested the low, and this also is this is January now, and it hit the S1 pivot for January in the first week for the VIX, and it's huge, and I think it's going to hold, and so I'm looking for a pretty explosive move. We're going into earnings for next year. Next quarter, with a strong dollar, with all our multinationals at all-time highs, with the trade deficits going up, which is a warning flag that our guys aren't selling stuff because of competition from cheaper currencies. And I just think it's a recipe for a pretty good sell-off. And if you made a lot of money being on the bull side, pat yourself on the back, but I think it's probably prudent to take some money off the table and sit. If you're long-suffering bear, then I think it's time to take a shot. And I hate playing VXX because I never time it right. It's just one of my nemesises, and it's the way it's constructed. It's hard to make money on it. So I prefer to go ahead and attack this with some puts. And then that way, if I'm wrong, I know how much money I'm going to lose. But I think it's probably wise to get some January or even February puts and take a ride on the wild side here, because I think we're going to get a pretty good sell-off. The pivot for SPY is 210, and we're almost at 226, 227 area. So it's going to be that's a pretty good sell-off that I think is going to happen. And market always likes to go to the pivots. So, and I had another on my daily. I'm not going to share my algorithm, but it's whenever this happens, I get a signal that the market has a near term top to it, or it's going to get the move is typically not going to be it's starting to flatten. And so I usually sell credit spreads when I get this, and I got one on Friday. I sold some credit spreads, and the market usually has a difficult time going up another 1.5% over the next week. So that just gave me another signal that the market pushed up pretty hard here, and now it's time to look at things from the short side, and if not, at least start selling calls against it, and in that way you'll You'll make some money while you wait for this thing to roll over. So I'm doing both. I'm selling calls and sold calls, and then I'm long the VIX because I have the VIX contract, and so that's how I'm playing that, and I have puts on SPY, and then I'm long the metals and miners. That's kind of where I'm playing this right now, and I'm long until Friday. We got kicked out of FXY, but I'll get right back into it again. We had a profitable trade on that move we had early in the week. China is waking up, and so see it popped it, and I think you're going to start seeing more of that until people are going to start getting nervous, saying, you know what, I've been short this contract for too long, and at 100 to 1 leverage, it doesn't take too many times where you start getting gap ups that you want to probably reduce your position, and that's another death knell. This market has literally been risen on the backs of the FANG stocks, which are the beautiful people of Obama's reign. Google, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, those ilk, and they've been shorting the yen, and they've been shorting volatility, and just to create the illusion and the mirage of all is well. So Obama, he looked at the world in terms of, look how great the stock market's doing, because he could point to that, because he's all about style over substance. And Trump has made it very clear his measuring stick is all about employment. And so I think you're going to see less concern from him how well the stock market's doing, and more concern from him of how many jobs he's creating and saving. And Wall Street and Main Street do not always align. In fact, a lot of times they're at opposite, because now, all these companies that wanted to go to Mexico that have to come back, they have higher costs now. And, until the American people make more income, is that it's going to squeeze margins. And so I don't think Trump cares. I mean, look who he's gone after so far. He's gone after Boeing, gone after Lockheed, he's gone after Carrier, he's gone after Ford, he's gone after Toyota, he's gone after GM, gone after Time Warner, ATT. All those guys they're in the short crosshairs now. So I think that they're going to have a difficult time arbitraging American labor for profit. And Trump, he's he's a stubborn guy like anybody that gets to those positions, and he's going to push it, because that's if you understand his personality, he wants the accolades of the people, and he wants to show people, look what I'm doing for you. And so he's not beholden to any of these other people. So I think it's going to really put pressure on the margins. I don't think he's a big fan of the Federal Reserve, and I think it's going to put pressure on those guys suppressing the gold price, and so it's going to be really, really interesting to watch. But I just wanted to throw that at you. I think we have a turn here in the market, and I think it's time to play it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but everything seems to be lining up the right way for us. Anyways, Bob from Trade Genius. I'll be going through all my charts a little bit later, but I want to throw that out at you. I think it's time to the wave the flag. We're ready to take San Juan Hill if you're a bear. Have a good one. Bye-bye.